There are moments in a man's life when the truth doesn't come through her actions. It slips out in her words. You might not notice it at first. A small statement here, a careless sentence there, and before you realize it, those words have exposed how she truly feels about you. Today's topic, if a woman tells you these 5 things, leave her, is not about hate or bitterness. It's about understanding psychology, protecting your peace, and learning when to walk away with your dignity intact. Welcome to the channel. Here, we don't sugarcoat reality, we decode it. This discussion isn't just for men who've been hurt or disappointed, it's for any man who values his self-respect and wants to understand female psychology on a deeper, more realistic level. Too many men ignore the signs, hoping she'll change. But what if the words she says are the warning bells of something you can't fix? In this video, we'll break down why certain statements from a woman are not just red flags but flashing alarms. When she says them, she's revealing something about her mindset, her respect for you, or how she views the relationship altogether. And here's the truth most people won't admit. Sometimes love isn't enough to stay. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do as a man is to walk away before she drains your confidence, energy, and sense of self. So stay tuned as we dissect the psychology behind these 5 dangerous statements. By the end, you'll not only recognize them, you'll know exactly why walking away might be the smartest move you'll ever make. But before we start, listen carefully. What you see here in my channel is just a preview, not the full picture. If you really want to master the dating game and learn how modern relationships actually work, don't waste time. Rush right now to https://www.stoicapproachtolife.com, AGVVLS, or go to my description and click the link below and unlock the real strategies, the real teachings, the real results. Don't just watch, level up today. So let's get started. 1. When she says, "You deserve better." There's something deceptively gentle about this phrase. It sounds kind, almost noble, like she's thinking of your best interest. But make no mistake, when a woman tells you, "You deserve better," she's not complimenting you. She's quietly exiting the relationship while making you feel like she's doing you a favor. It's a psychological tactic that softens the blow of rejection, and many men fall for it because it seems harmless. But behind that softness is a truth that every man needs to understand. She's already emotionally checked out. When she says, "You deserve better," she's really saying, "I'm no longer invested." It's her way of shifting responsibility. Instead of saying, "I don't want this anymore," she makes it about you, as if you're too good for her. And because men often want to protect or fix, they start over-analyzing, thinking maybe she's just insecure, maybe she needs reassurance. But the reality is, when someone values you, they don't try to release you disguised as kindness. They fight to stay. A woman who truly cares will say, "Let's make this work," not "You deserve better." You see, the psychology behind this statement is rooted in avoidance. Most people, especially women who dislike confrontation, prefer to step away subtly rather than face the discomfort of directly ending things. By saying "you deserve better," she keeps her image clean while preparing to move on emotionally. It's the soft goodbye before the real one arrives. And if you ignore it, you'll end up chasing someone who's already decided to leave. The right response when you hear this is not to argue or plead. It's to observe her actions and maintain your composure. Don't try to convince her of your worth, because the moment you start proving yourself to someone who's emotionally unavailable, you lose respect in her eyes. Walking away calmly in that moment sends a stronger message than any emotional speech could. It shows that you value yourself enough not to stay where you're not wanted. What most men don't realize is that this phrase often signals the beginning of the end. It's a transition point. Her heart is already elsewhere, maybe with another person, maybe with a fantasy of freedom. If you ignore it and keep holding on, she'll slowly disconnect more until one day she's gone completely. But if you pay attention and step back early, you save your peace, your confidence, and your time. So when she tells you, you deserve better, don't mistake it for humility or care. See it for what it truly is: a polite rejection, a quiet confession of detachment. Respect her words, not because they're noble, but because they're revealing. And instead of begging for clarity, give her what she's really asking for: distance. That's how a man with self-respect responds, because in the end, sometimes the most powerful move is simply to walk away first. 2. I need space. The hidden message. When a woman looks you in the eye and says, I need space, it can hit you like a punch to the gut. Most men panic. They start thinking, what did I do wrong? Did I push too hard? Did I stop giving her attention? But the truth is rarely that simple. I need space is one of the most confusing and emotionally loaded phrases in relationships, and understanding what it really means can save you from a world of pain. Let's break this down from a realistic point of view. When a woman says she needs space, she's not necessarily saying she hates you or wants to end things immediately. Sometimes she genuinely feels overwhelmed and needs time to process her emotions. But in many cases, it's a warning signal that her emotional investment has dropped. It's like a flickering light before it burns out completely. She's distancing herself to see if she still feels something for you, or to prepare herself for a breakup without feeling guilty. Men often make the mistake of reacting emotionally when this happens. They start calling, texting, apologizing for things they didn't even do, trying to fix a problem they can't define. And that reaction, though understandable, usually pushes her further away. You see, the more space she asks for, the more control she's trying to gain over the situation. When you chase after her, you confirm that she holds the power. You become predictable, desperate, and emotionally reactive, the very things that kill attraction. Here's the harsh truth. When a woman says she needs space, she's already taken it mentally. The question isn't whether she's pulling back, it's whether you'll let her see you as a man who can stand firm when things get uncertain. The worst thing you can do is beg for closeness when she's asking for distance. That never reignites attraction. It suffocates it. The best move is the one most men are too afraid to make. Respect the space she's asking for and use it to refocus on yourself. If she truly values the relationship, she'll come back stronger because she'll notice the difference. She'll see that you didn't crumble without her attention. But if she doesn't return, it's because she was already emotionally gone, and her request for space was just a polite disguise for a silent exit. Either way, you win. You either get clarity or closure. I need space isn't the end of the world, but it's not something to take lightly. It's a test of your emotional strength. If you chase, you fail. If you stay grounded, you reveal confidence, control, and masculine calm. The traits that separate men who get respected from men who get replaced. So when she says those 3 words, don't panic. Let her go. Breathe deeply and remember this. A woman can't miss what never left her. Sometimes the smartest way to bring her closer is to let her drift away. 3. You're too emotional. What it really means. When a woman looks at you and says, you're too emotional, it can shake your confidence if you're not grounded in who you are. Most men hear that and instantly pull back, thinking they've done something wrong by showing care or expressing feelings. But here's the truth. Being emotional doesn't make you weak. Losing control of those emotions does. There's a difference between having depth and being desperate, and understanding that difference is what separates strong men from confused ones. When she says, you're too emotional, what she's often communicating is that she feels your energy depends too much on her. Maybe you've been too eager to please, too available, too quick to react. You've shown that your peace rises and falls based on her attention, and that imbalance kills attraction faster than anything else. Women respect emotional strength, not emotional dependence. The problem isn't that you have feelings. It's that you've forgotten to lead with logic and self-control. This is where many men go wrong. They think being stoic means being cold, emotionless, or detached. It doesn't. True stoicism means feeling everything but mastering what you show. It's about controlling your reaction, not killing your compassion. When you learn to express yourself with composure, you project power. You communicate maturity. You show her that you're not moved by temporary moods. You're grounded by principle. So, when she says you're too emotional, don't take it as an insult. Take it as a wake-up call. It's a reminder to refocus on your center, to stop over-investing in someone else's validation, and to start rebuilding your frame. The right woman won't shame you for being emotionally aware. She'll respect you for being in control of yourself. But she can only see that if you stop trying to prove how much you care and start showing how much you've grown. Men, this is your power move. Stop reacting. Start responding. The moment you show that her words don't control your emotional state, the dynamic changes. She'll either rise to meet your calm or reveal that she's drawn only to drama, and either outcome benefits you. You'll gain clarity about who truly values your strength, not just your softness. The motivation here is simple. You can't lead with emotion if you haven't mastered it. Every great man feels deeply, but acts deliberately. So next time she says, "You're too emotional," smile inwardly. You know something she doesn't. That emotion is your engine, not your enemy. When you drive it with discipline, it becomes your greatest source of power. So stay grounded, stay aware, and never apologize for feeling. Just make sure your emotions serve you, not enslave you. That's how you turn criticism into confidence, and that's what real emotional mastery looks like. 4. My ex wasn't like you. The comparison trap. Few things cut deeper in a relationship than hearing a woman say, "My ex wasn't like you." It's subtle, but it stings. That one line can make a man question his worth, his effort, even his entire personality. Most men don't realize that when a woman brings up her ex in comparison, it's not just a memory, it's a message. She's either trying to communicate something she feels is missing, or she's testing your confidence to see how easily you get shaken. Either way, it's a red flag wrapped in nostalgia, and you have to read it for what it is. Let's be real. Comparison is poison in any relationship. It's one of the surest signs that she's not fully present with you. When a woman starts mentioning her ex often, she's emotionally referencing a past standard. It doesn't always mean she wants him back, but it does mean she hasn't fully let go. And when she tells you her ex wasn't like you, she's drawing a line between the man she once idealized and the man she's currently testing. That's not love. That's confusion, and you can't fix it by trying harder. The mistake most men make is to compete with the ghost of her past. They start changing themselves to match what she said her ex did better. Maybe he was more exciting, more confident, more assertive. And instead of staying true to who they are, they start imitating someone they've never even met. That's the beginning of emotional downfall. Because the more you try to become her past ideal, the further you drift from your authentic self. And ironically, the more you change to please her, the less she respects you. The realistic truth is this: when she brings up her ex to compare, she's showing you where her focus lies. You can't outshine a memory. You can only decide whether to remain in a relationship where you're being measured against someone else's shadow. The smart man doesn't fight for validation in that scenario. He observes, detaches, and reclaims his power. He understands that a woman who truly values him won't compare. She'll appreciate him for who he is now, not who someone else used to be. And here's what's often missed. Sometimes, my ex wasn't like you isn't about the ex at all. It's about control. It's a way to make you doubt yourself so she feels more in charge emotionally. When you start questioning your worth, she feels the power shift. That's why the right response isn't anger. It's calm indifference. You simply don't engage in the comparison. You stay steady, composed, and let your silence speak louder than insecurity ever could. In the real world, that kind of control earns respect. Because the man who doesn't flinch when compared is the man who knows his value. So remember this. When she brings up her ex, don't compete with her past. Stand firm in your present. That's the kind of strength no memory can overshadow. 5. I don't owe you anything. The respect test. There are few statements in a relationship that expose a woman's true mindset more clearly than when she says, I don't owe you anything. It's cold, it's defensive, and it often comes out during conflict, right when you're expecting accountability or mutual understanding. This phrase doesn't just reflect her words, it reveals her emotional position. It's not about owing something material. It's about how she views respect, gratitude, and reciprocity within the relationship. And once those values start to disappear, everything else soon follows. Let's be realistic. In healthy relationships, no one is literally owed anything. But both partners choose to give time, care, effort, loyalty, because that's what builds connection. When a woman uses this phrase, she's rejecting that exchange. She's telling you she no longer feels emotionally responsible for how her actions affect you. And that's dangerous, because relationships are built on mutual respect, not independence disguised as entitlement. When she starts believing she owes you nothing, it means she's no longer invested in us. She's focused on me. The phrase usually appears after you call out an unfair action. Maybe you did something kind for her, showed effort, or simply asked for clarity, and she snaps back with, I don't owe you anything. Instead of empathy, she offers resistance. And here's what most men get wrong. They try to reason with her, hoping logic will bring her back to understanding. But once a woman gets to the point of saying that, she's already emotionally detached. You can't negotiate respect. In real life, when this phrase enters a relationship, it's a sign to slow down and step back. Don't fight to prove what you deserve. Let her words show you what she's capable of giving. The moment you start demanding appreciation or accountability, the dynamic shifts from connection to competition. You'll start doing things for validation instead of sincerity, and that drains your confidence over time. The educated man understands that respect is non-negotiable. You can't teach someone to value what they don't naturally appreciate. If she truly cared, she'd never use that phrase in the first place. Because in a respectful relationship, both people recognize effort. They may disagree, but they never dismiss the other person's feelings outright. Here's the realistic truth. I don't owe you anything isn't just defensive, it's dismissive. It means she's no longer emotionally invested enough to care about your perspective. And if that continues, the relationship becomes one-sided. You give, she takes, you explain, she avoids. It's a dead end masked as independence. So, what should a man do? Don't argue, don't retaliate. Simply acknowledge the moment as a turning point. If she sees your calm reaction, she'll either reflect and change or double down. Either way, you'll have your answer. Because a woman who truly values you doesn't remind you what she doesn't owe. She shows you what she willingly gives, and that right there is the ultimate respect test. 6. I'm not ready for commitment. The Evasion code. When a woman says, I'm not ready for commitment, it often sounds simple and harmless, but the psychology behind it runs deep. Those 5 words can mean a dozen different things, depending on when and how they're said. Sometimes they mean exactly what they sound like. She's genuinely not ready to settle down. But other times, they're a polite disguise for something deeper. She doesn't see you as the man she wants to commit to. Understanding the difference is one of the most important lessons a man can learn about relationships and self-respect. Let's start with the honest truth. When a woman truly values you, she doesn't need much convincing to commit. She naturally invests, she shows up, and she wants to secure your attention before someone else does. Commitment becomes a byproduct of how she feels around you, not a negotiation. But when she says, "I'm not ready," it often means she wants the benefits of your presence without the responsibility of your expectations. It's her way of keeping her freedom while you keep giving her your time and energy. Here's where the education comes in. Men often misinterpret this phrase because of emotion. Instead of hearing what she's actually saying, they hear what they want to believe. They think, if I stay patient, she'll change her mind. But psychology tells us that people rarely change based on convenience. They change based on conviction. If she's truly unsure about commitment, she might take months or even years to decide. But if she's unsure about you, she'll keep you close just enough to feel wanted, but never close enough to build something real. You have to listen carefully to what follows her words. Does she continue to act like she's unavailable, or does she show effort despite her fears? If she pulls away, disappears for days, or avoids defining the relationship, then her "I'm not ready" is really an exit disguised as caution. But if she communicates honestly, sets boundaries, and still shows genuine care, then there's potential for growth. The difference lies in action, not words. The biggest mistake men make here is waiting too long, believing that time alone will change her mind. It doesn't. In fact, the longer you wait in uncertainty, the more power you lose. You teach her that she can have your loyalty without offering clarity. And the more she sees you accept half-hearted behavior, the less she respects your standards. Educated men in relationships understand this principle. You don't chase clarity, you set it. When she says she's not ready, take her at her word. Don't argue. Don't persuade. Simply adjust your level of investment. If she values you, she'll notice your distance and step up. If not, she'll fade away. And that's your answer. So, the next time you hear, "I'm not ready for commitment," treat it as information, not confusion. It's not your job to make her ready. It's your job to protect your peace. Because in the end, the man who understands boundaries always wins. 7. You're overthinking it. The manipulation signal. This phrase might sound casual, even innocent, but when a woman tells you, "You're overthinking it," there's often more behind it than meets the ear. It's a common line used when you're trying to address something that doesn't feel right, an inconsistency, a lie, or a shift in her behavior. And instead of explaining, she brushes it off. Realistically, this statement is often less about your supposed overthinking and more about her wanting to avoid accountability. Understanding that distinction can save you from manipulation and emotional confusion. Here's how it usually happens. You sense something off. Maybe her tone has changed, her attention has dropped, or her stories don't add up. You bring it up calmly, hoping for clarity, and she quickly says, "You're overthinking it." Now, instead of focusing on her behavior, you start questioning yourself. Am I being paranoid? Am I too sensitive? And that's exactly where the danger lies. It shifts the focus from her actions to your emotions, making you the problem for simply noticing the problem. In psychological terms, this is called gaslighting, a subtle form of emotional manipulation meant to make you doubt your perception of reality. It's not always intentional, but it's powerful. When used repeatedly, it can make you feel guilty for being attentive or cautious, which eventually weakens your confidence and sharpness in relationships. A man who constantly second-guesses himself becomes easy to control because he's stopped trusting his instincts. Now, let's be realistic. Not every woman who says this is manipulative. Sometimes she genuinely means that you're reading too much into a harmless situation. That's why you need to observe patterns, not isolated moments. If she says, "You're overthinking it," but still answers your concerns calmly later, that's healthy communication. But if she always dismisses your feelings without addressing them, you're not overthinking. You're recognizing avoidance. The educated way to handle this is to remain calm and grounded. Don't argue or get defensive. Simply reaffirm your perspective with composure. You can say something like, "Maybe I am overthinking, but I'd still like clarity." This response keeps you in control and forces honesty back into the conversation. You're not attacking, you're standing firm. You show emotional intelligence, something manipulators can't easily twist. Realistically speaking, many men ignore their gut because they fear losing the relationship. They think staying silent preserves peace, but silence often invites more disrespect. The truth is, your instincts are your internal radar. When something feels off, it usually is. And when someone repeatedly invalidates that feeling, they're not protecting your peace. They're protecting their narrative. So, the next time you hear, "You're overthinking it," pause before you doubt yourself. Ask whether your concern is based on emotion or observation. If it's the latter, trust it. It's better to walk away confident in your perception than stay in a situation where your reality keeps being rewritten. Because a man who listens to his instincts not only protects his heart, he protects his sanity. At the end of the day, words reveal more than actions sometimes ever will. The phrases we've discussed aren't just sentences. They're signs. Every man must learn to listen beyond what's said and recognize what's meant. When a woman repeatedly shows emotional detachment, avoidance, or manipulation, it's not your job to fix her. It's your responsibility to protect yourself. Walking away isn't weakness, it's awareness. The most powerful men aren't the ones who beg to be loved. They're the ones who choose peace over confusion, clarity over chaos, and self-respect over settling. Learn to read the signs and never ignore your worth. And before you go, remember, what you've just watched is only a small piece of the puzzle. If you're serious about mastering the dating game and building real confidence in modern relationships, don't wait. Visit https://www.stoicapproachtolife.com, GVVLS right now, and get access to the full teaching. That's where the real transformation